absolute favorites, my ride or die. If I die, please get the embalmer to put this on me. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a video on all of the 16 highlighters that I own and share with you guys what I think are the worst highlighters and the best highlighters. I've got a whole mix of drugstore or affordable highlighters and some high-end highlighters as well. Getting straight into it, I just want to say that there are probably 3 or 4 highlighters that I would not repurchase and that I would consider to be the worst, but then the rest of the highlighters I have I actually really like, and I think they're all really good. So let's get started with what I think is the worst. This one is the e.l.f. Shimmering Facial Whip. Now, I don't even think they make this anymore, so that's not going to be a problem because you won't find it anywhere, and good riddance. The reason why I don't like it is because it literally leaks water, and I'm not sure if you can see that. It was like that when I first got it. It's not even a problem of, oh, I've had it for however many years and it's doing that. It's always been watery since I got it, so yeah, I would not recommend this one. I did have the Pearl e.l.f. Shimmering Facial Whip, which I used to use in my videos, and that was really good, but I wanted to get a highlighter, not like a portable gross shower. I'm just gonna swatch it. If it doesn't excrete water, I'm just gonna like hold this baby wipe because it's literally just pissing water. That is just rank. It almost looks like clown makeup, and I guess you would have to blend that in. It's super sticky. It feels like a sticky lip gloss, so that one I don't recommend. Then the next worst highlighter that I would not repurchase is the Benefit WhatsApp highlighter. First of all, I don't like the packaging, and I don't know why I would buy it if I don't like the packaging. Second of all, for the price that you pay, which I'll link in the description bar, you just get such a tiny amount of product, and you have like the world's worst design brush. Like, I don't even know what that is, but that literally, like, I could find a beauty blender for 50 cents on eBay that's shit that will do a better job at blending. And the formula is just, I'm just gonna swatch it for you guys. It is super dry and it's just not pigmented at all. It's really not worth the price, and there are so many. I'm gonna show you some other way better cream-based highlighters, and that is just not it. Next worst highlighter that I have is one that I actually really love at the same time. It's kind of a bittersweet thing. This is one of the first highlighters that I ever started using. This is the swatch of the e.l.f. Got a Glow blush. You can see that I've used the living bejesus out of the many years. The only reason why it's something that I wouldn't repurchase and it's on like the worst highlighters is that it fades very fast. By the end of me swatching the rest of my highlighters, you will see it fading. So that's the reason why it's in the worst pile, although it is something that I hold an attachment to. The next highlighter that I have that I wouldn't be upset about if I ran out of it is the Anastasia Glow Kit. Now, this is something that might be controversial. It is very expensive, and I guess that's why it's on my list. And the reason why it's something that I wouldn't rush to repurchase is because it is very bulky, which obviously I knew when I bought the palette, and it's just something that I haven't been reaching for and I don't use that much. The shades are absolutely stunning though, so I will swatch it. This is the first shade. This is the shade Summer. This is the shade Summer. Then we have the shade Tourmaline, and then we have Bronzed, and we also have the shade Moonstone. So you do have some really, really gorgeous shades. So those 4 over here, as you can see, they're good, they're soft, but they're just not as pigmented and as intense as other highlighters I have, and for the price and the bulkiness, it's just something that you have to assess. The next highlighter I want to talk about is a Laura Mercier Indiscretion highlighter. So this is what it looks like. It's an absolutely gorgeous, I don't know what that pattern is. It reminds me of like Silk and Versace. This is what it looks like. It's just this last one here. Laura Mercier. And the reason why I wouldn't be upset if I ran out of it and I didn't buy it again is because that it is very, very soft. It's not the most intense highlighter. Now, at the same time, that works to an advantage because it is very soft, creamy and buttery, and it's something that you can layer and doesn't look cakey or chalky at all. But for me, I love a super intense highlighter, like the one that I have on right now, which I will reveal within this video. I really like an intense highlighter, and I think that even if you have a super pigmented intense highlighter, all you have to do is just be light-handed with your brush. So I feel like you get better value that way. So that's a Laura Mercier Indiscretion highlighter. The next highlighter that I have, this one is the MAC Oh Darling Extra Dimension highlighter. Now, this one is really, really pigmented and it is just amazing. So I've just swatched it there so you can actually see. That one is the MAC Oh Darling highlighter, and then over there you have the Laura Mercier Indiscretion highlighter, which is kind of fading. Very, very gold and champagne shade. So the MAC Oh Darling highlighter I really, really, really love. The next two highlighters that I have are both from the brand Becca. Becca is known for having like one of the best highlighters within the makeup world. It's actually one of the few brands where I've fully used up their highlighter completely, and that was their Champagne Pop highlighter, which I don't have, but I absolutely love, and every time I wore that highlighter I got so many compliments. The ones that I have here though are Moonstone and their Prismatic Amethyst. Moonstone is one that is a very, very light champagne with flecks of kind of pearl. Moonstone bottom there, and that's the MAC Oh Darling highlighter. I think if you're looking for an affordable highlighter, you can definitely find one that's just as good as this. In terms of the formula, it is very pigmented. You can definitely build it up, and it's a great highlighter. I don't have anything bad to say about that one, except that it's just expensive. The next Becca highlighter that I have is the Becca Prismatic Amethyst. Now this I'm going to put as one of the best highlighters because it's one of the most unique highlighters. Besides that Anastasia one with that sort of pink undertone, this one really has a reflective light pink with almost purple tones. So the camera isn't picking it up very well, but when I look at my skin, I can see that it's a pink, reflective pink, if that makes sense. So it's something that's really gorgeous. I did try it on the other day when I was putting on some makeup and filming it, so I'll just insert a clip of what it looks like here. Becca really knows their highlighter formula as well, so I would definitely recommend you swatch it and try it out for something unique. The next highlighter that I have is another highlighter that is super unique, but is something that I feel like is super dramatic and I can't wear all the time. So I am actually wearing it right now. It is a Fenty Beauty Trophy Wife highlighter. This is actually the last highlighter that I ever bought, which I bought last year, so I've had this for almost a year now. It's just like a straight up true gold sort of color. That's in the bottom there. It is really, really gorgeous, super unique. The only thing that kind of makes me not want to use it on an everyday basis is that it's super, super glittery. I don't know if the camera is picking this up very well. That's the Trophy Wife highlighter, and if you can just see in comparison to the other highlighters that I have, it does look a little bit chunky. And if you're looking for something different, then I recommend you try it, but just be light-handed with it and know that it is very, very glittery. I did also use the Fenty Beauty in my inner corners of my eyes. It is high-end, but I do think it's worth it. Get a big size, the pan size is quite big, so it's a good one. The next highlighter that I have is one from Colourpop. This is Colourpop's Pressed Powder Face Cheek Highlighter. Just watch it for you guys. So that on the bottom is the Colourpop. Now, this is an okay highlighter. Again, it's not as pigmented as the other highlighters that I've swatched so far. The next highlighter that I have is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder. This is a highlighter that I love. I've swatched it at the bottom here, and I just love it because that's the Wet n Wild highlighter there, and that is some of the high-end highlighters that I have. If you were to look at my hand, you wouldn't even be able to tell which is Drugstore. It has a really, really, really pretty light champagne undertone. It is very similar to the MAC Soft and Gentle Mineralized Skin Finish highlighters, which I really love. And I'm just going to swatch the MAC Soft and Gentle so that you can see it. So that's the MAC Soft and Gentle. I will talk about it later, but while the MAC is a little bit more on the pink side and the Wet n Wild is a little bit more on the champagne rose gold side, they both remind me of each other, and if I were to put them on either cheek, you wouldn't be able to tell. And again, this is one of my favorite highlighters. So this Wet n Wild highlighter is in the shade Precious Petals. It is so pigmented, and the fact that it is so freaking cheap. Good makeup definitely does not have to be expensive makeup, and this highlighter is the definition of that for me. So definitely recommend. Okay, now we're getting to the last bits of my highlighters, and starting from this Wet n Wild highlighter, we were getting into the highlighters that I was actually using on an everyday basis. The next one that I want to talk about, which is the one that I've used the most out of all of them that I have, and the fact that I've used it the most is because it's affordable. This is the Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter. This highlighter is so bomb. You know what? This highlighter isn't even bomb. It's a freaking chemical weapon of mass destruction. That is on a Richter scale of how good it is. The only thing that kind of annoys me, which I mean is fine, like it still lives and is usable, is that the packaging is super cheap. It's like very plasticky. It's very similar to the plastic cheap packaging of the Wet n Wild highlighter, and it's just something that's part and parcels with the cheaper highlighters. The packaging obviously isn't the greatest, but I mean, you've seen the other highlighters that I have. Like, how much have I used that? I took this with me when I traveled Europe for 3 months, and I will insert some of my pictures even though absolutely nobody asked me. This was the only highlighter that I took with me, and I used it so much and I would get so many compliments every time I wore it. Honestly, it is so pigmented for a drugstore highlighter. I'm going to swatch it for you guys, and it reminds me so much of the Becca Champagne Pop highlighter. The very gold champagne color really complements an olive skin tone, which is something that I have, and honestly it is so pigmented. All you really need is a light touch and you get so much value out of it. This one is in the shade Molten Gold and I just love it. I absolutely recommend it. If it runs out, I'm definitely getting another one, and especially because it's so affordable and so accessible to everyone that you can get at the drugstore. I really love this one. Now the next highlighter that I have, this is my first ever high-end highlighter, and it is the MAC Soft and Gentle highlighter. This one I have already swatched. That is it there. That one is the MAC Soft and Gentle. If you want to try MAC, I definitely recommend getting this product if you haven't already. I would describe the shade of this as being a pearl light champagne, more on the cooler side. I find this is really flattering for all skin tones. The formula is to die for. It's extremely creamy. You can definitely build it up, but at the same time it is very pigmented as well. So this is something that I do use a lot, and it's such a big pan. It's 10 grams. I think it is really worth the price compared to some of the other highlighters. So for example, most of the highlighters that we have, they seem to be about 8 grams. So I really recommend the MAC Soft and Gentle. It has been one of my ride or die OGs. You won't be disappointed with the formula, and you know, if you're in the airport and you're traveling, you can always find MAC at duty free. So I would really recommend getting that. So now we're down to the last 2 highlighters, and they would be the ones that if I am going out and I want the most intense extra highlighter look, then I would grab these 2 and I actually layer them. The first one is the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek in the color Flexitarian. Now I have used so much of this. I've used so much of this, and the reason why I love this is, first of all, it's intense enough on its own. As a cream-based highlighter, you can layer that on beautifully underneath any of these powder highlighters, and it will just make that highlighter pop out even more. If you want to be noticed in the simulation and you want the aliens to pick you up, wear this highlighter. I'm just going to pop it here so that you can see. So I've just swatched it there. You can't really see, that's probably the worst swatch ever, but I love this ColourPop highlighter. It is extremely smooth and soft, and as soon as you put that cream highlighter onto your skin, it immediately turns into powder. Extremely buttery and soft. It has a pearl and almost sort of silver. It's got a pearl and almost silver satin sheen. This highlighter is so good that I wouldn't even be mad if my little sisters came into my room and used it without asking. Okay, they actually watch my videos, so you know what, if you're watching this, you guys can use it anytime. So there you go. This one is my ride or die. I absolutely love it. This leads me down to my #1 most favorite highlighter, and it is the maryloumanizer highlighter by The Balm. You can tell it's one that I love because I've actually hit pan on. This is a highlighter that you will see me take with me and that I'll put into my makeup bag because it's got the mirror as well, so that's just what makes it a little bit more convenient. I'll just do a swatch for you guys. This will be the final highlighter swatch. That is a maryloumanizer, and you can already see, damn, like compare that to all of the other highlighters so far. Yes, they fade a little bit, but that highlighter was not as pigmented as all the other highlighters, and I'm not just swatching it, you know, with extra pressure. It has the most beautiful light champagne, again, I'm sorry for saying champagne like a billion times, satin pearl highlighter. It is one that is absolutely flattering for all skin tones. It's not too cool, not too warm. My absolute favorite highlighter out of all the ones that I own. It's sort of in the mid-range. It is not a $50 or $40 highlighter. Here in Australia, it's quite affordable, and you can even find the balm at Priceline now in Australia, which is our drugstore. My absolute favorites, my ride or die. If I die, please get the embalmer to put this on me. Is that a little bit morbid? I've been seeing too many podcasts, but you know what, I'm not even good joking. I'm gonna write it into my wall because I want these highlighters to be worn. Sorry if that was a little bit too intense, but it's just how I feel about it. That sums up the end of my video. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I hope it helped you form an opinion if you were interested in buying a new highlighter. Thank you so much again for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and I would really appreciate it. Also give this video a big thumbs up as well, because that really helps me a lot. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in my video next weekend. Bye!